We turn now to male infertility. It is an affliction that many struggle with in silence, and we could be headed toward a crisis.
Something ominous is happening to men in America. Everyone who pays attention knows that.
Most men are basically invisible. There is not a female on the planet who's invisible today.
Modern men are largely frustrated and don't know why. Bizarre feelings, emotions, and thoughts have gone, in typical male fashion, unarticulated and disregarded. Lately, though, things have begun to change. A few entities have come along and proposed both reasons and solutions for this mass male frustration. The reasons and solutions lie somewhere between a 1996 novel, a Canadian university professor, and 3 internet celebrities. The book Fight Club, Jordan Peterson, Mike Rowe, Andrew Tate, and The Liver King have all explored and appealed to frustrated men. And one thing they all seem to agree on is the origin of these frustrations. According to these entities, the main source of modern male frustration is that masculine instincts have been domesticated by modern civilization. Let's explore. To understand how masculine instincts are being suppressed by modern society, we must first understand what these masculine instincts are. Let's rewind the clock 135,000 years ago, when man, Homo erectus, took its modern form. Since that time, human beings and the world itself have evolved at a rapid pace. But while the world quickly evolved and drastically changed, our instincts remain the same. Our ancestors' instincts centered around 4 main things: food, shelter, safety, and sex. All of these things were instinctually fought for, and more importantly, they were earned. And the danger of modern society is that now, nothing is earned. For example, let's consider our food. Nowadays, if we're hungry, we don't work for our food. We don't have to hunt or gather it or meticulously grow it. Heck, we don't even have to cook it ourselves. We simply drive to the grocery store or the McDonald's drive-thru. If we want shelter, we don't have to build it ourselves. Chances are, someone has already built it for us, or we live in our mom's basement. For our protection, we no longer have to be strong and capable of defending ourselves and our people. No, our safety rests on the shoulders of police forces, laws, and governments. Perhaps what's scariest of all is that now, if we want to have sex, we don't even need to attract a mate. We can just jump on Pornhub.com and instantly witness sexual fantasies our ancestors couldn't even have dreamed of. Nowadays, virtually nothing is earned. Competitiveness and fighting for our rewards has been replaced by immediate comforts. And these comforts are killing us. Why? Because we are unfulfilled. There's no satisfaction. Modern men can and have become fat, lazy, useless, and sad. The brainstem of our ancestors were not designed for the comforts of ingenuity, industry, and globalization. The modern world has desecrated the primal instincts of mankind, rendering men irrelevant and useless. One thing that is certain, though, is that the modern world is here to stay. It's not going anywhere, and that's not a bad thing. Despite the tremendous friction between modern environments and our ancestral biology, the modern world is incredible. And with the right approach, I believe we can appease both. In today's world, we can go about other ways of satisfying our biological instincts for food, safety, shelter, and sex. And when certain practices are combined, it might just be the perfect cocktail to restore masculine happiness and satisfaction. Let's explore. As I mentioned, one of the innate instincts that is being suppressed surrounds our food, specifically the way we get our food and what food we eat, our diet. In the modern world, there's a large disconnect between humans and their food. We go to the grocery store, restaurant, fast food drive-thru, and it's served up to us on a platter. And God only knows how many supply chains our food goes through to get to us. Listen, I'm not saying that we should run into the woods with a spear or bow and arrow and hunt for our own food. But I do believe that all men, at least at one point, should learn how to hunt and should go hunting. Somewhere deep within us is a desire and longing to hunt and gather our food, to work for it. At the very least, we should try to get back to eating the unprocessed foods that our ancestors were eating. A man who recognized this is Brian Johnson, aka the Liver King. He's a wildly popular influencer and entrepreneur with one main goal: trying to get us back to a primal diet and primal levels of strength. If you go onto Liver King's website, you'll see this in his mission statement. Our mission is to put back what the modern world has left out, returning people back to strength and happiness. Liver King teaches and models an ancestral lifestyle and diet. Head over to his Instagram page, and you'll see countless videos of him eating raw liver, testicles, and doing insane functional workouts. If we want to regain a sense of satisfaction from our food, we should, if we are able, try to grow and cultivate some of our own food. Even if it's just some green onion and kale in a small backyard garden. We should also, if able, buy our foods from farmers markets and try to ensure that we eat free-range, happy meats and eggs. Our ancestors had it right. Many years before us, they identified a simple, elegant way of living that enabled us to genetically express the highest version of ourselves. So despite modernity, we need to honor this as best as we can. Moving on now from food, let's discuss our primal instincts surrounding safety. Nowadays, thanks to ingenuity, a weak, slow, dumb, uncoordinated person with a gun can kill a strong, smart, and dexterous person fighting with a sword or his bare hands. The rules have changed, and it's no longer necessary to be strong and fight savvy. But just because we don't need to be strong and able to fight, these instincts and desires still live within us. We are all warriors. One thing that I can guarantee is that all of us are here today because somewhere in our ancestry, our ancestors fought and survived. In the modern world, however, fighting and rough play have been demonized, and thus, a lot of boys and men are never in a competitive environment. An internet celebrity and a fictional character have pointed out this notion. Their names are Andrew Tate and Tyler Durden. What I believe we can learn from these two is that men want and need some sort of fight or flight competition and should at least know how to fight. Andrew Tate was a kickboxing world champion and is a huge advocate for young men getting into the gym and learning how to fight. Tyler Durden started franchises of fight clubs to help men alleviate their violent and rough predispositions. Did you know that MMA is the fastest growing sport on the planet right now? It's wildly popular. Now, of course, again, I'm not saying join an underground MMA club or become a UFC fighter, but consider things like joining a boxing gym or playing a sport and trying to get into a semi-competitive environment, especially for young boys and young men.
You should be a monster, an absolute monster, and then you should learn how to control it.
Our bodies were designed to move, and getting involved in a boxing gym, sports league, or any form of fitness really will replicate the hunt, so to speak, and satisfy this innate desire to move. Moving on now to shelter. The human body was designed unlike any other creature. We were made to build. We are dactyl. Our ancestors knew how to build and had been using tools for over 2 million years, a very valuable skill that we are losing. Unfortunately, there is a huge decline in the trades. The US has over 650,000 unfulfilled construction jobs. Canada will face a 60,000 person shortage of skilled worker apprentices by 2025. I think modern men need to become handy again. Instead of outsourcing all of our trade jobs, let's learn how and at least try to do some of the more simpler ones ourselves. YouTube is a great resource for that. And let's promote the trades as great careers. When I was in school, trades were often shunned, and a 4-year university degree was purported as the only acceptable path. It's complete bogus. People in the trades are making far more money than many university graduates. Plus, they have applicable skills, and they don't start their working lives in tremendous school debt. A man championing the cause of the trades is Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe is an American TV host, most notably of the show Dirty Jobs. He launched Mike Rowe Works, a PR campaign designed to reinvigorate the skilled trades. He's since written extensively about the country's relationship with blue-collar work and the widening skills gap. He also testified before the US Senate about the importance of changing perceptions and stereotypes around blue-collar work. Building is in our biology. It's one of our most rudimentary practices. We were built for it, and we need to honor it.
How are we going to do without men? You look around the city here, you see all these buildings go up, these men, they're doing impossible things. They're under the streets, working on the sewers.
Industries like construction and manufacturing have a tough time finding skilled labor in this tight labor market.
There was a time when higher education needed a PR campaign, and it got one. Unfortunately, the push for four-year institutions came at the expense of community colleges, trade schools, and apprenticeship programs.
Lastly, let's talk about sex and relationships. A lot of young men have grown up on and are addicted to pornography. And it's not a group of kids who found one of their dad's hustler magazines. Young boys now can readily access millions of videos of hardcore pornography. This is a relatively new phenomenon, and we're still discovering what the ramifications of this will be. But I think we need to stop watching porn. We need to stop masturbating and practice semen retention. We need to get off Tinder. If we want to satisfy our ancestral instincts and be men again, we must go out, meet people, learn how to talk to people the old-fashioned way, hunt, if you will, for our mates. A scary stat is that 54.2% of women aged 25 to 29 years old are childless. And yes, there are many reasons that factor into this, but some of the onus rests on the failings of men. Men need to hear this message and understand these principles, because if history is any indication, there's nothing more dangerous than a group of collectively frustrated and angry men. Let's understand our primal instincts, how they work, and continue to learn how we can satisfy them in this modern world. And for starters, let's reconnect with our food, get our diets in check, get involved in sports or physical activity, become more handy, and stop with the porn. If we can do these things, I believe men and women will be happier and better off for it.
Jordan Peterson, you've said that men need to, quote, grow the hell up. I mean, that sounds pretty bad. You're saying there's a crisis of masculinity? I mean, what do you do about it?
Thanks for watching.